Gainesville up to Lexington to the Tide and Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here, am I on? Can somebody respond?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Reaction Monday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham. So glad that you are here with us. And as usual, how in God's name am I going to get through all of this stuff in just a couple of hours? It's not going to happen. It's going to take all week to get through it. I mean, I could do an entire show on the NFL. I could do an entire show on the college football. I could do an entire show on everything. We got a lot to get to. Most of it, as usual, will be college football today and some NFL in here as well. Although we are 2 games into the World Series. Now that moves to Philadelphia tonight for the next 3 nights. And in NASCAR, the championship 4 is set. You remember NASCAR, don't you? And let me just get this out of the way. All right, let me just get this out of the way because today is November Eve. Okay, I know some of you call it Halloween. And those of you that are watching on WCCN TV see that I am going as a long-suffering Cleveland Browns fan today. I got my Nick Chubb hoodie on and my Browns hat on. Browns playing on a Monday Night Football tonight. It's Halloween. I'm a long-suffering Browns fan today. Okay, hopefully, I don't know how Grizz has got it set up, there on the WCCN TV. Hopefully you can see that I'm wearing my Nick Chubb jersey hoodie thingy, okay? Having said that, today is November Eve. The World Cup? That thing, that soccer tournament? It starts Thanksgiving week, which is also rivalry week in college football. And, of course, it's a big week for the NFL with 3 pretty attractive games on Thanksgiving Day. So, honestly, what am I supposed to do with that thing? I mean, the final is the week before Christmas on December 18th, that weekend. What am I supposed to do with this tournament? Now, if you're wondering why is this thing being played now instead of its normal time in like June and July, it's because someone had the brilliant idea to play it on the sun in Qatar, in the Middle East, where the average summertime temperature is roughly 150 degrees. Oh, no, we're going to air condition the stadium and cool the field. Yeah, right, none of that worked. We'll move it to the wintertime. Remember during COVID when the sports schedule was all jacked up and the NBA and the NHL finals were in September and the Masters was in November and no one watched because we have a rhythm to our sports year. There's something that we do a certain way. We have a rhythm to our sports year. Remember that? No one paid attention. That's what we got here. That's this. Let me know when 2026 is here. And the tournament is in the U.S. in June, where it belongs, and I don't have anything else to do other than, some playoff hockey and some basketball maybe and baseball. But we can pay attention to it in June. Not now. Not now. It's not going to happen. Can't do it. All right, if you know what you want to talk about, phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. You can also text the show at 7329-TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. It's a good way to communicate with us, especially on a day like today. Kids sending pictures of their costumes. Stop it. Especially on a day like today when really it's jammed. But I will get a couple of guys in here in this opening segment. The station's Twitter feed is 98.7 ESPN. Facebook is 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show there, both those places. You can watch it on Twitch and YouTube at WZZN TV. You can follow us on the Twitch and like and subscribe on the YouTube. Get notifications. Go to 977ESPN.com. Get links to all of that stuff. And get both of our apps, the Zone and the Blitz. It's a very busy time of year. You got playoffs beginning Friday night in North Alabama. Buckhorn coming off an excruciating loss to Grissom in front of a nice crowd at Milton Frank Stadium. And now goes to Hartzell to play the top 5 ranked undefeated Tigers. I'll be on that game on air and primary feed. McGough has a prior commitment and won't be on the game with me. So I'm trying to decide. It could be Grizz. It could be Captain Cool. Somebody has to help Scott, and somebody has to go with me. So I'm not sure exactly yet. It might be somebody completely else. I might take my my oldest son, who's an experienced broadcaster. It could go down that way. Also coming up this weekend, Madison Academy hosts Phil Campbell in the opening round of the 3A playoffs. What is it about 3A and all of these schools that are named after a person? Phil Campbell, Susan Moore, J.B. Pennington. I mean, by the way, Pennington finished 9-1 in the region. Their only loss was to Madison Academy by a score of 49-7. Tells you something about MA and how they ran roughshod over 3A. Steve Moulton and Glenn Laird will be on that game, Zone 2. And Randolph, who actually beat Madison Academy. Randolph opens the 4A playoffs at home against 7-3 Rogers with Austin Coletti and Drew DeArmond on Zone 3. And as always, the Woody Anderson Ford North Alabama scoreboard show with Scott Tyson will begin on the Blitz at 8:30 and then move to the air after the Buckhorn game. Now, coming up in hour number 1, Tom Luganville from ESPN is in. The inaugural playoff poll comes out tomorrow, but man, there are some huge games that will impact that coming up this week. No matter what they say it is now, wow, there are some games that are coming up this week. Because Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio State, Michigan in some form are going to be the top 4. Clemson and Alabama are going to be the first 2 out. Clemson is at Notre Dame Saturday night. Alabama is at LSU Saturday night. And, of course, Georgia and Tennessee tangle between the hedges in the biggest game. For Tennessee, this is the biggest game in 20 years, 15, 20 years. Ohio State and Michigan are at Indiana and Rutgers in the wildly top-heavy Big Ten, so nothing to see there. And by the way, remember last week when we discussed what the 12-team playoff would look like this season? Well, with UCF beating Cincinnati, Gus's Knights, barely in the top 25 at number 25, would be a playoff team as the 6th conference champion, as the 6th highest-rated conference champion. And again, next year, UCF goes to the Big 12 with Cincinnati and Houston and BYU. They wouldn't even be in the mix in the G5. I really got to think that they got to rethink that part of this playoff. That has to be revisited. At the top of the 11, Joey Blackwell is back from BamaCentral.com with a preview of the Tide's huge game in Baton Rouge this week and then right to Oxford for the Rebels the following week. Obviously, everything is going to be defined right now. At 11:25, Auburn captain, tight end, fullback, quarterback, John Samuel Schenker will join us courtesy of Valley Equipment Rental. Seriously, Schenk took snaps at all 3 positions. Did you see him take a snap at quarterback? He took a snap at quarterback and tossed to Robbie Ashford on a sweep. Big news out of Auburn is that it looks like they have an AD as John Cohen will be hired from his alma mater. Is that deal done yet or not? I don't know. I don't think so, but if you go to his Wikipedia page, it says he's the AD at Auburn. Cohen is being hired away from his alma mater, Mississippi State, where he played baseball and coached baseball very successfully. He's a baseball guy. Played and coached there, and he's born in Tuscaloosa. Now, he did hire Mike Leach, but I really don't know what his connections are. When you look at his past, when you hire an AD, you wonder about who their connections are. I don't know whose connections are. Baseball guy. And they beat the big dog, not this week. Oh, did I come correct and beat the big dog? Not 1-0, not 2-0, not 3-0, not 4-0, not 5-0, 6-0, and beat the big dog for your host. And all of a sudden, just like that, I go from 4 games under 500 to 2 games over 500. Thank God for the hook. Thank God for Penn State and their garbage touchdown late to get it back to within the 15.5 against Ohio State. Thank God for Ole Miss covering the 2.5 as they won by 3. Thank God for Florida hanging in there to get beat by 22, and it was 22.5. And thank God for the Packers kicking a field goal to get within 10 of the Bills. It was 11.5. I could have been 3-3 so easily. Grizz was 5-1, only losing on Kentucky. And rated rookie Bradley, dude went 4-2. I mean, that's a good run, 4-2. 6-0 for your host. I gave you 6 winners against the spread. Shut up about me. And in that Friday trifecta, we have 5 guys that are alive who at least have hit the trifecta and are waiting on a World Series to determine their final point total. Of those 5 guys, only the Mad Plumber hit the bonus as well, which is the Packers plus 11.5 last night. So he gets the chicken, because you still have the Mad Plumber. I think he won a couple of weeks ago. The Mad Plumber gets the chicken. He gets 2 points. He has the possibility of 2 additional points if Philly wins in 5, which is not going to happen. They'd have to sweep the next 3 in Philadelphia. Grimm, Auburn Mike, Shane and Madison, and Josh Chambers all have a point, and they could get an additional one. Big John also got a point, but he's dead on the multiplier because he had the Astros in his sweep, and that's not going to happen. All right, over there in that little glass booth, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air and stoked for his first-place Falcons and the Grissom win. You should have seen him beaming Friday night. It's DJ Grizzy Grizz. Doesn't want to play. It just doesn't. It just says.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a radio show. It ain't a 1-hour television spectacular.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
He may be the smartest person that I've ever met.
Testosterone high today. What's that? Testosterone, whatever the it is. Testosterone.
I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
So, Grizz, which are you more excited about? Grissom winning on homecoming on Friday night, or the Falcons winning that fight on the short bus when neither team wanted to win the football game, but ultimately the Falcons kicked the field goal to win the game in overtime, and the Falcons are now in sole possession of the NFC South. This is ridiculous.
Yes.
So which one's better?
I think Friday night was better because, to be honest with you, it wasn't bad on my heart like the Falcons game was. I mean, I swear, Carolina had two times they could have won that game, and every chance it just seemed like neither team wanted to win that game. And if you had DJ Moore and PJ Walker like I did in fantasy, that was a huge nice little extra time.
I took the Atlanta defense in my fantasy football because I didn't think Carolina could do anything offensively. So that didn't work out, although I still won my game. But here, let me, just for those that don't know what happened, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers score at the end of regulation on a Hail Mary, basically. They score at the end of regulation after the Falcons went down, and it got an incredible play out of Mariota and Bird and to take the lead 34-27. Right. And then the Panthers score on a Hail Mary with 12 seconds to go in the game. And the stupid receiver, the idiot receiver, that look at me, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, decides to take his helmet off in the end zone. Hey, look at me, I scored a touchdown. So that's a penalty. That's a celebration penalty.
Yeah.
So smartly, Arthur Smith says, oh, wait a minute. Let's take the penalty, the 15-yard penalty, on the extra point because the extra point's already a 33-yard kick, right? So they back them up 15 yards. So the extra point becomes a 48-yard field goal, and the Carolina kicker shanks it. And he goes John Samuel Shanker on the thing, and it becomes overtime at 34-34. Then in overtime, Mariota throws a terrible interception. Carolina runs it all the way back to the 20-yard line. They run the kicker out for a chip shot field goal to win the game. And he goes John Samuel Shanker again and shanks the thing. And then the Falcons go down the field and they kick a field goal to win the game. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
And they're now 4-4
game.
in a one-game lead on Tampa Bay, who's circling a drain. New Orleans, who just basted. Oh my gosh! I mean, the Raiders.
They're so bad.
This is the second job for Josh McDaniels as a head coach. Remember, he was horrific in Denver.
Yeah,
and now he's doing this to the
He's
Raiders.
Got a quarterback. He's got an offense. He has a good offense. Compete.
Josh Jacobs is like the third leading rusher behind Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb is Josh Jacobs. They've got parts. They're 2-5. I don't know how long that dude's going to last there. It's a mess. They would have been better off with Rich Bisaccia. They should have just kept Rich Bisaccia, who put them into playoffs last year at 10-6. Just ridiculous. All right, let me get these guys in here because I know that they're excited about their teams. Let me get them in here in order of the longest wait. We start with the Philip. Philip, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm all right, Tom, I guess.
What's wrong?
I was not very happy with my Cowboys game. We gave up way too many points, way too many yards. Again, ridiculous, stupid, asinine. Can I say that? Maybe I should have asked first. Yeah. Roughing the passer call on us. Did you see that?
I did, and I thought you're talking about I thought that one was pretty accurate. I did think that one was pretty accurate call. You talk about it was only one, right? I only saw the one, so I would say it was only. I was watching most of that game. I thought that went right to the head. I thought that was head to head. I could see that call.
In front of him, he jumps up. Yeah. He tips the ball. Yeah. If you block the ball on a kick or a punt, there's no roughing, correct? So how are you 2 feet in front of the quarterback, jump up, tip the ball, and merely touch him? You don't land on him. You don't fall down and crush him in two. You don't flatten him like a pancake. You don't throw him to the ground. You touch him.
Let me take a look at it. Let me take another look at it quick. He launches and it's forearm right to the head. I'm looking at a still picture of it right now. Let me look at it again because I remember when it happened. I said, "Oh, that's going to be roughing." Boom. It's the shot to the head that was the problem. Look, they won the game. It doesn't matter. Trevon Diggs with the interception on that would have set up another score. They were already up 3 touchdowns at the time. But he does go, I think that, look, I got to be honest with you. How about them Cowboys? I'm really digging the Cowboys this year. He goes to the head with the forearm. It really is a shot to the head.
He touched his head.
He touched his head with his forearm.
In the head.
Well, let me hit you in the head with a forearm and see how that feels.
That's fine. If I'm too stupid to stand there and try and throw the ball when a gigantic dude's in front of me jumping up in the air and he tips the ball, who's the idiot? The quarterback.
I'm looking at it again. He goes up, he tips the ball, and then it's the forearm. If he didn't put his forearms in front of him and hit the guy in the head, if he'd have just like chest bumped him when he was coming down after he tipped it, it's just he brings his arms forward, he forearms him to the head. I'm all right with the call. All right, what else you got?
It's ridiculous.
It's a great win. You're 6-2 for God's sakes. You're right there.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. As far as the World Cup, there's an old Italian saying. I think it's Italian. Forget about it. Who gives a flying?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm like who cares? Now, if it was June, we'd pay a little attention because it's going to be in the U.S. in 2026. But yeah, I memean, for them to do the World Cup now during our holidays in America, during our football season, I mean, who gives a rat's butt? I mean, I don't even think I can. I just gonna ignore it. I think
it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Okay.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
And, whatever.
Good job by you. All right. Those of you that are watching on WZZN TV, yes, that's me giving the garbage can to my wife. These are things that go on during the show. All right. Wolverine Dan, what's up with you?
So you got a problem this weekend. You need someone to help you call your game?
I am in need of a color commentator this week, yes.
Well, according to Grumpy, the Phillips the greatest caller of all time. Why don't you let Phillips do it?
Well, because you only have like 5 or 6 seconds or 7 seconds to get in between each play, and Phillip would start talking, and then it would be like the game would be over before I would get the next play in.
Well, but he still is the greatest caller, so let's move on. Okay?
Yes.
That was a dig. Let's move on, all right? Let's talk about, hey, look, it's great to be in my division, 6-1, all right? And then the other division below me, the second division, Atlanta at 500, and all the teams in my division are 500 or less. I say we're going to get a bye, and I'm going to get that much closer to $4,100, brother.
Are you talking about, so people that don't know, Wolverine Dan is on Minnesota to do what? To win a division or to go to the Super Bowl or to do what?
Take the whole enchilada, baby.
To win a championship?
All of it.
Oh, no, they're not going to do that. No.
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, that's good.
I don't think they'll do that. Although the NFC is wide open right now. Every week, you go week to week, you don't know. But Philadelphia looks very good. San Francisco is pretty good. Cowboys are pretty good. The Giants, I think, were exposed yesterday. I'm going to say now the Giants are going to go on a little skid and come back to the thing. I just do not feel like the Giants are really that good.
All right, so earlier, and I'll get off because I know you got to get Lug or whatever his name is. Anyway, check this out. So, the Carolina Panther guy is a thug that takes his helmet off in the end zone. Well, I got a bunch of thugs in the tunnel at the Michigan Wolverine game.
Yeah.
Those guys are criminals. You need to lock them up.
I got to go look at that video. The Michigan, for those who don't know, the Michigan State players jumped a Michigan player in the locker room, and we're not exactly sure. Two?
There was two players. One of them gets jumped. There's two players that were being messed with by the team.
I don't know why they have that. I don't know why. First of all, Michigan with that stupid, they've got their locker room thing goes right behind the bench like that. But I don't know why the one team doesn't go through and then they stop and then they wait like 15 seconds and then the other team goes in. They got to do a better job managing that tunnel. Didn't they have a problem with that against Penn State too?
Ohio State.
Yeah.
No, Who?
I think it was Ohio State did it to Michigan.
No. That was last year. That was last year. I'm talking about like a week ago. Didn't they have a similar issue in the tunnel with Penn State? Because James Franklin and Harbaugh were going back and forth all week about something that went on in the tunnel.
Yeah, it's all good.
The tunnel is bad. That's a bad tunnel.
Corum, 177 yards, another touchdown, leads the nation, should be in New York. You agree with me on that?
I agree with that. I agree with that. I was disappointed that Michigan didn't blow them out, though. It was too tough of a game. Why is State's leading that game at the end of the first quarter? What the heck was up with that?
I'm going to get to that. You're not going to beat Ohio State in their place the way they're playing with field goals. Although it's nice to have a guy like that Moody could kick field goals. He's money. He's going to get a big paycheck in the pros. He had a record 50-40 over the weekend. Awesome. Tom, I'm telling you right now, as of right now, I'm thinking Ohio State and Tennessee is the best teams in the nation. You might disagree with me, but that's what I think.
I will hold judgment to. I feel that way right now, but I'll tell you what. I watched every play of that Georgia-Florida game, and Georgia's pretty damn stout too. So I will going to reserve judgment until I see what Tennessee can do between the hedges. Because you got to, if Tennessee hangs in there and loses that game by a field goal and everything else, I still think they're a playoff team. If Georgia rocks them, I don't know about that.
if Tennessee wins this game and wins out, they're in the SEC championship playing whoever.
No, if Tennessee wins this game, they're in the SEC championship game. Period. I mean, if they win this game, they're going to.
And then you got big games this week in Alabama, LSU, and it's going to be a drunken. We're at LSU.
Yeah.
The Racing Cajuns at 6 o'clock kickoff. That means they're lit up by 12.
Yeah, no, that's big, and the Clemson Notre Dame game is big for Clemson because that's probably that's the only hurdle left, I think, for Clemson to be undefeated, so that they would be in. Thanks for the call, Wolverine Dan. That's a good job by you. All right, Lugs is up next right here. It's the Thom Abraham Show on Reaction Monday, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that, chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at BadDaddy'sBurgerBar.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at ChapmanCommercialRealty.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Thom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 977 ESPN The Zone.
An eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began.
It's good that you did it though, because Luke's is a big Halloween guy, and I am not. Although my 7 of my 10 grandchildren will be here. We live in a neighborhood that is, in a historical neighborhood with big houses and stuff, and it's a great neighborhood for trick-or-treating. People truck their kids in. They come in here to trick-or-treat in our neighborhood.
Man. Halloween is the best.
No.
You get candy, and you get to dress up. Come on.
Yeah. But I did dress up today. I'm wearing a Nick Chubb jersey and a Cleveland Browns hat, so I am a long-suffering Browns fan. I'm dressed up as a long-suffering Browns fan today. I'm not a huge Halloween guy, but my grandkids have a blast doing it, and we'll walk them around the neighborhood and have a good time with that. This segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. For all your service needs, it's Woody Anderson Ford. Don't need to go anywhere else. Check it out. It's absolutely spectacular. They could even fix Ross Chastain's car after he ran the wall yesterday to get into the Final Four for NASCAR, and they could get that fixed up at Woody Anderson Ford, even though that's a Chevrolet, because you don't have to have a Ford to get fixed at Woody Anderson Ford. All right, joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, Thom Luganbill from ESPN and ABC. Lugs, welcome in. How are you?
You there, bud?
There we go. I am now. Okay, Luke, how you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Are you dressed up in whatever your Halloween costume will be yet?
Unfortunately, no, because I have to travel today because I have a MAC midweek game tomorrow night. I've got Buffalo at Ohio on ESPN2.
Oh, so you've got travel, so you're not even, because you won't even be around for tonight, huh?
I know, and it's really sad. It's depressing.
How old are your kids, though, now? Your kids are older now, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. I care more about Halloween than they do. My son's 16. My daughter's 14.
Gosh, I remember when they were born. I remember they were little tiny people. They were little tiny people. And now they're all grown up like this. Holy mackerels. You got to see Illinois up close and personal. I think they're going to win the West. But, I mean, where is Illinois? They're no better than 4 in the East, right, of the Big Ten?
I tell you, man, they're not a fluke. I came away remarkably impressed with them. They're not in Michigan in Ohio State's category. I think that they would play a heck of a football game with Penn State. Heck, they did last year. They're better than Maryland, better than Rutgers. I think they're better than Michigan State. They've got 2 or 3 NFL draft choices in the defensive secondary. They've got probably 2 future draft choices, maybe 3 in their defensive front. Their running back's going to be a big-time player, Chase Brown. Got about 3 offensive linemen. Their roster actually has some NFL talent, and he's done it quickly, man. He deserves a lot of credit because I had that team before COVID hit, and that was one of the worst-looking football teams I'd seen at the Power 5 level in a long time.
Yeah. Well, Lovie Smith, who's now coaching at Houston, and they look like Illinois did a couple of years ago, I guess. Should there be concern at all about James Franklin, who is banging his head against that glass ceiling? It seems like he is now 1-10 against top 5 teams in his career, at Penn State. Is there a concern at some particular point in time that this is the best he can do, is be, the third wheel and sometimes fourth wheel in that Big Ten East? I mean, why can't they be Michigan or why can't they be like Michigan or Ohio State?
Well, they should be. Now, a little bit more of an outlier from a location standpoint. It's not as easy to get to Penn State as it is to those other two places. They're clearly a much better team at home than they are on the road. He's got a little bit of the same issue that Jim Harbaugh was battling in his first, 3 to 4 years in Michigan. He couldn't beat anybody that was any good.
Right.
And then, Michigan's now seemed to have turned that thing around. But I don't know, man. It was I don't care if it's Ohio State or anybody else. You turn the ball over 4 times, you're probably going to lose. I don't care if you're playing at home, you're playing on the road. They made more mistakes than Ohio State did. And Ohio State wasn't perfect on that day, but they made far fewer errors than Penn State. And do I think that they should be a 9-win type program minimum every year? Absolutely. I think they're more than capable of that.
Yeah. This kid for Ohio State, what is it, JT Tumalo? Is that how you say it? Or? Wow.
Tuimalau. Yeah.
Tuimalau?
Wow. Yeah, we just call him JTT. I don't know if I've ever seen a statistical performance like that on behalf of one individual ever, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. In fact, he was so good, he made a play that doesn't have a statistical category. If you watch the first batted ball that he got on the first drive against Sean Clifford that went over Sean Clifford's head, and then the other Ohio State defensive end intercepted it. So if that ball goes to the ground, it's a deflected pass. All right, that's a statistic. Because it got interception, it's an interception. He doesn't get the stat for the tip.
It's a pass breakup, interception.
Yeah,
he gets everything.
He doesn't get it.
Well, here's the thing, too, about him, and that was such an athletic play. But, you know this because you handle recruiting. But he was offered a basketball scholarship at Oregon. He was offered a Pac-12 basketball scholarship. I mean, that's how athletic he was. And we just don't see kids like this coming out of the state of Washington. And they couldn't keep him out there, right? USC was on him. Washington was on him. Oregon was on him. And they just couldn't keep him over there. And that was a great win for Ryan Day and Ohio State.
Yeah, and they're chock full of defensive front guys now. They're all young. All of them they're all the same age as that kid. They're either a true sophomore, a redshirt freshman, or a redshirt sophomore, or a true freshman, all littered throughout that defensive front. Jim Knowles is going to have himself a defensive football team in the next 2 years. It might be one of the best in the country when those guys all become juniors.
Thom Luganbill with us here. All right, so tomorrow night we get our first college football poll. I don't think there's a lot of intrigue, right? I mean, you're going to have this weekend. It could flip everything, but right now, in whatever order, it's got to be Georgia and Tennessee and Ohio State and Michigan, right? And then Clemson and Alabama are the first 2 out. Do we agree on that? There's no way they're going to break up those 4 right now, the 2 from the SEC and the 2 from the Big Ten, and Clemson and Alabama probably the first 2 out. That's about right?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm going to be very intrigued to see what we end up doing with Tom, because the committee loves undefeated teams. I don't care what conference you're affiliated with. They like the fact that TCU is undefeated. I wouldn't be surprised if in the first iteration they somehow try to sneak TCU into that top 6. I wouldn't personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they try to do.
Yeah, that could happen at the expense of Alabama, I would think, because they're not going to mess with Clemson. I wouldn't think that would happen. But now here's the thing. We played the what-if game last week and talked about the 12, all right, and the way the 12 is going to be made up, the 12-team playoff, hopefully in 2025, if not by 2026 for sure. And the caveat in that deal is, we went back, we brought it up, we read it, the top 6th-ranked conference champions, regardless of their ranking. The top, that's what it says, regardless of their ranking. Last week, that meant that number 20, Cincinnati, which would have been of the 6th conference, which would be the American, they would have been in the thing. They get dumped by UCF. Now UCF is barely in the top 25 at 25, and They got a spot. I mean, the two things about this, stop me if I'm lying, not only would UCF be in, if they were doing this right now, UCF would be in as the 6th conference champion, highest-ranked conference champion. Not only that, but UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, BYU, they're all going to the Big 12 next year. Somebody else from one of these conferences is going to get into this playoff. This is a flaw, I think, Tom, no?
It's a huge flaw. It's why the Americans shouldn't be a part of it.
Or the Sun Belt or whoever. Yeah.
Or whoever it may be, but we're going to be granting a group of 5 team, a potential top 6 seed that has no business even being in the mix. And so, again, as we've seen with a lot of things that have to do with whether it's college football playoff structure, whether it's NIL, whether it's the transfer portal, the NCAA, we always seem to throw it all out there before we think it through, right? So I still think that there's time to sit back, because these types of scenarios that you just laid out have got to be ironed out, man. I mean, you're going to be having major programs, major Power 5 programs that are far more talented. They're going to be screaming to the rooftops if we allow that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, think about it, because, and again, when Cincinnati and UCF are gone, they'll be in the mix as a Big 12 team at that point in time. Mm-hmm. If you took those teams, if we just played the game and moved ourselves forward, the 6th highest-ranked conference champion would be Coastal Carolina right now. And they're ranked number like 32 in the country. And they're going to get in the thing. While LSU and Penn State and Illinois and Ole Miss and UCLA and Kansas State, who just beat the living snot out of all of those people, forget about it. And we'll take Coastal Carolina, top 32 team.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh, God. So they got to fix that. I mean,
of course they do. There's no they cannot allow, first of all, whoever's in the room, whether it's presidents, ADs, coaches, committees, there's no way they're allowing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the thing is for the last couple of years, we had a Cincinnati team, it was top 10, and it made sense. It felt right, you know what I mean? But it doesn't happen that way. And the top team, whether it was UCF or Cincinnati, or BYU as an independent, those top teams are all being cherry-picked now into a Power 5 conference. So the G5 looks even worse than it did before.
Yeah,
all right, Tom Lugabill.
I mean, you could be sitting there saying, okay, Temple now is not ranked, but they won the conference or what have you. Pick a team, and you're going to sit there and you're going to throw them in?
Yeah.
Slap.
Better shot at an upset win in the SEC this weekend. LSU dumps Alabama at home, where Bama is, in Baton Rouge, where Alabama is like 11 or 12-point favorite going into that game. Seems a little rich, but LSU wins that game, or Tennessee as an 8.5-point favorite goes to Georgia and wins that game. Which of those two significant underdogs has a better shot of winning?
I think Georgia does.
No, I mean the underdogs. Either Tennessee as an underdog or LSU as an underdog. Which of the two underdogs?
You said Tennessee was the favorite.
No, Tennessee is an 8.5-point dog to Georgia.
Tennessee does, in my opinion. Now, I feel really strongly, though, the thing you got to look at in this matchup is how many offensive plays does Tennessee run? If at the end of that game they're in between the 80 and 90 play range, I bet you they've won the game. And the reason why I say that is that's their style, right? They want to snap the ball between 10 to 12 seconds. They want to dictate terms to the defense. They want to go up and down the field in a track meet style of pace. And that's not how Georgia's built. But if at the end of that game you don't see them in that 80 to 90 range, I bet it's either because Georgia's disrupted them, they forced 3 and out, and then Georgia's played keep away on offense and not allowed Tennessee to have as many plays. I think that's the way Tennessee wins the game. Is if they're in their mode of operation, they got a great shot of winning it. If they get off schedule, if they get off track, then it's going to be a difficult game for them to win. Tom, can you believe that tomorrow's November 1st and Tennessee has had 2 road games?
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And this one here will be, LSU is rough. There's no doubt. But they took LSU out of that game so early. If Georgia's hanging early, then it's going to be very, very tough for Tennessee. I will say this. I have been kind of reserving judgment a little bit on Tennessee. I still think that they got incredible amount, of breaks to beat Alabama with the 17th. Alabama played terribly and all this stuff. The ease with which they dispatched Kentucky, that caught my attention. That caught my attention. Even though Kentucky was able to do some things early, running the ball and stuff, Tennessee holding Kentucky to 6, because that's their Achilles. I don't think they have a championship defense. They held Kentucky to 6, and Kentucky does not suck.
No, they don't, but I think their quarterback's the most overrated player in college football.
Really?
And I know he's tough. I know he's physically gifted. I know he's got a strong arm and all this and all that. But he was horrible the other day against Tennessee, and I just think he's super streaky. And he helped Tennessee a lot. And to Tennessee's credit, Tennessee took advantage of it. That's one thing too that Tennessee's done. When you give them a gift, they're going to capitalize.
But you're also concerned with the offense that Hendon Hooker runs. I'm wondering if you were in pro personnel, for those that don't know, Thom worked pro personnel with the Dallas Cowboys. So you're in pro personnel. You are in the Houston Texans office or the Raiders office or one of those offices, and they are drafting the Detroit's office. And they're on the board, and both Hendon Hooker and Will Levis are on the board. Who are you handing the card in for?
Oh, my goodness. Do I have to take either one?
Well, let me ask. I'll add another name to it. How about J.T. Stroud? I mean, with the history of Ohio State quarterbacks, all right, say J.T. Stroud's on that board as well.
Stroud?
Or C.J. Stroud, yeah. I'm thinking of J.T. Barrett, but C.J. Stroud is on the board, and along with those guys, Bryce Young is gone, let's say, and let's say that C.J. Stroud is still on the board. Hendon Hooker's on the board, who's much more bigger, physical, more guy, and Will Levis is on the board, who some NFL scouts are in love with.
For what the NFL does and wants to do, and the offense that Will Levis has been playing in the last 2 years, I would actually probably say Will Levis, and the reason why, and you touched on it with C.J. Stroud, and the history of quarterbacks coming out of that program. Try and name one quarterback that's played in the system that Hendon Hooker's playing in that's succeeded in the NFL. It's almost impossible.
It's impossible, yeah.
So you have the Baylor teams, under Art and Kendall Briles. You have the Dana Holgorsen teams. You have Jeff Lebby and Josh Heupel. I think it's a little early. We don't know what Matt Corral is going to be at the NFL level, but essentially my point is it's a great college offense. Nobody succeeded in the NFL coming from it. Yeah. That would concern me.
You still feel like I'm still a little up in the air on Bryce Young because he's so slight, but man, is he cool hand Luke back there. He is just so smooth.
You're worried more about durability with him than you're worried about whether he can play. I don't think there's any question about whether he can play.
Yeah, he can play. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right, so off to USC to get a look at the Trojans. That's your original home base, though, isn't it? Aren't you from Southern California?
Yeah, I am. I was born in Pasadena and raised in San Diego for much of my childhood. Yep.
Yeah, but Cal doesn't present much.
I remember though. That state's gone bonkers. I don't understand that state anymore.
Yeah, they're not even in the union anymore.
I don't even know what's going on.
It's like 49 states and then California. It's like somebody else's country or something. All right, well, enjoy that game. I don't think Cal gives them any trouble, right? I mean, this should be a USC romp, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, absolutely. Did you see what those officials did at Arizona to USC at the end of the first half?
I did not.
There's like they before the officials spotted the ball and then blew it into play, they let 6 seconds roll off the clock and they didn't even spot the ball.
Really?
Oh yeah. Look it up on Twitter. Lincoln Riley goes berserk.
Look, man, officiating is a nightmare right now at all three levels. High school, college, and in the NFL. And I just think that there are less and less guys that want to do it. And it's just tough right now.
It's hard. Yep.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Have safe travels out there and safe travels. Who do you got tomorrow night? Which MAC game do you have? Because I know Kublik's got one too. Which one do you have?
Yeah, I've got Buffalo at Ohio. So the two West Division leaders are playing on ESPN2.
And you're in the booth. You're in the booth for that one.
in the booth. Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how the numbers are for that. I bet the numbers. It's going to be interesting against the World Series. People are so football crazy. I bet the numbers will approach the World Series number. Maybe as many people watching Buffalo and Ohio that'll be watching the World Series Game 3 or Game 4. All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. See ya.
That's it. Let's get a break. We'll come back and set you up for hour number 2 next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, I'm Capri, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the chicken. They actually put it on the grill, cooked it in the sauce. It's definitely a good grilled spicy sandwich.
Hey, I'm Michelle, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is it's spicy and it's full of flavor. When you pair that with the Kale Crunch Salad, it's just good.
Order a Grilled Spicy Deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at dan@danaldridgelaw.com. dan@danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel and McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The best local sports talk with the best in college football. A perfect combination. Hi, this is Chris Stewart. Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
97.7 Grizz, I'm fired up. Not because of the NASCAR finish yesterday at Martinsville. That was good.
That was wild.
That was crazy
some
finish.
Earnhardt type driving.
I mean, he's not a Ford guy, but Ross Chastain. I was talking about, back when we talked about racing early in the year, Ross Chastain. I kept talking about him. I think Ross Chastain is outstanding, man. I think he's great. I wish he was at a Ford. But that kid. Now my guy Joey Logano is in the Final Four. So I'm squeezing for him. There's a Ford, a Toyota, and 2 Chevys in the Final Four. So I'm kind of stoked for that. But Grizz, this afternoon, my stone is showing up. My stone, which is the base for the concrete pad.
Yes, nice.
Is
rocking and rolling.
For the barn, yes. I'm very, very excited about this. I was not excited about how much the stone cost. Cost a couple $100 more than I thought it would for a couple of truckloads of stone. But it is showing up today, so I'm getting geeked up for that. I'm also geeked up for Joey Blackwell. He'll be joining us at the top of the hour. BamaCentral.com. Go to preview of the Tide's big game in Baton Rouge. He's next. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to tap into human emotion, first with some music. Then in a serious tone, I'll say, save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. And even though it was about saving money with Progressive, we'll fade out the music so you know it was poignant. Wow, powerful stuff. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in a Kia. Go Bulldogs!
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Patience being preached by quarterback Aaron Rodgers after the Packers' latest loss. Unlike last week when he suggested some players needed to be benched and cited too many mental errors, Rodgers, after the loss in Buffalo, said the most important thing for Green Bay, take a beat. The last thing you want to do is respond in emotion. The 3-5 Packers have lost 4 in a row for the first time in 6 years. They are 3 back of the NFC North leading Vikings. Bills starting safety Jordan Poyer will have an MRI today. Poyer, removed from last night's game with an elbow injury, said he heard a pop in the elbow. Also said it's a different elbow injury than the one he had during training camp that kept him out multiple weeks. Pivotal Game 3 in the World Series tonight when the Phillies welcome the Astros, tied up at 1 game apiece, 7 Eastern ESPN Radio. Noah Syndergaard and Lance McCullers Jr. on the hill.
Listen to Madison Academy football all season long.
And it is covered up by the Mustangs in the end zone. Touchdown Madison Academy. Touchdown Madison Academy.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Number 6 Alabama and number 15 LSU in Tiger Stadium Saturday. The Crimson Tide a 13-point favorite, 58 the total. Auburn plus 10.5 at Mississippi State, 52.5 the over-under. The World Series moving to Philadelphia for Game 3 tonight. The Astros road favorites minus 132 on the money line. The Phillies plus 122, the over-under 8. Lance McCullers Jr. gets the ball for Houston. Noah Syndergaard for Phillies series tied at 1. NFL, the Falcons now in first place in the NFC South at 4-4, hosting the Chargers this Sunday. Atlanta a 3-point underdog at home, 48.5 the total. The Saints a 3-point underdog at home against the Ravens next Monday night. Red hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwhiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwhiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Halloween, expect mostly cloudy sky. High temperature going to top out in the lower 70s for the afternoon. Majority of us will be remaining dry, but a passing shower or two cannot be completely ruled out. Heading into your Monday night, expect mostly clouds to continue. Low temperatures going to be falling into the lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Listen to the North Alabama High School Scoreboard Show, presented by Woody Anderson Ford, each Friday night on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. For all your mortgage needs, it's North Alabama Mortgage. And really, Brian Hammaker and his crew, they do such a great job making sure that you have the right mortgage, item that you need to get the job done for your mortgage. And look, right now, you want to make sure that you get yourself pre-approved. If you're looking at houses or thinking about looking at houses, be pre-approved ahead of time so that when you go and look at those houses, A, they'll let you look at them, and 2, you're ready to close. Basically, your offer looks that much more attractive. Not pre-qualified, but pre-approved. They got all the products that you need. And don't forget refis. I mean, let me tell you something. I was just saying about how the stone is showing up today. I'm not building that barn out back, that 45 by 31 barn that is going to house all my woodworking stuff and my boat and everything else. I'm not building that without refinancing my house through North Alabama Mortgage. That's why I'm able to do it. So you can do the same types of things. You got money buried in your home. Go ahead and get it out of there and do what you got to do. And you may say, well, wait a minute. Now the rates are up. It's like 6.5%, 7%. What are your credit card rates? Take a look at those. You still can do a consolidation loan and save a lot of money. So check that out. All right. Joining us now, a guy that does a tremendous job covering all things Tide, and next couple of weeks are going to be very, very important for the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's Joey Blackwell, and he joins us now from Bama Central. Joey, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Doing well, Tom. How are you?
I am fantastic. It was a sneaky good weekend of college football this past weekend, on a weekend when Alabama was off. But now, holy mackerels. I mean, 2 games that are going to really go a long ways, 3 really, that are going to determine what could happen. You got this Alabama-LSU game, you got that Georgia-Tennessee game, and that Clemson-Notre Dame game. I mean, those are all games that are going to involve teams that are going to be listed in the top 6 probably when this college football playoff poll comes out tomorrow, and that may start shaping the way it's actually going to look going down the stretch.
Yeah, it's going to be we've been marking this weekend on my calendar for quite a few weeks now, ever since that Tennessee loss by Alabama. So we're really looking forward to it. Got, like you said, a lot of top matchups, and it really is going to kind of shape the landscape, particularly in the SEC. This weekend alone could just potentially decide, who wins the East and who wins the West. I know Alabama still has that Ole Miss game that's still looming large past LSU, but right now we need to be looking at this weekend, and there's definitely a lot on the line for all 4 teams involved.
Yeah, I think the East is very significant. That game, I think, will determine who wins the East, but it's. I think the game is even more important for Georgia, because if Tennessee loses and they look good doing it, All right, and they end up dumping that game. It's at Georgia, and they have the win over Alabama in their quiver. So Tennessee then runs the table and ends up 11-1. They still could look very, very attractive. I'm not sure that an 11-1 Georgia team would necessarily get the nod like an 11-1 Tennessee team might. And, of course, an 11-1 Georgia team would set up the potentiality of a rematch in the SEC championship game between Alabama and Tennessee if Alabama can take care of their business.
Yeah, I think with this Tennessee team, it definitely looks a lot better, on paper. It's a lot flashier than Georgia's team has been. It's made a lot more headlines than Georgia has, which you don't really see a lot for a defending national championship team to have their thunder kind of stolen, which seemed to happen pretty early in the season. There hasn't been a lot of talk about this Georgia team, but that being said, they've been really consistent. They're obviously, they're Georgia. They're a really good team. But as far as, aesthetically pleasing, I think a lot of people want to see Tennessee succeed and kind of shake things up, which they absolutely would if they did pick up a win this weekend. I think this is going to be an incredible game. You have Georgia's really solid defense compared to Hendon Hooker and the incredible offense that Josh Heupel built there in just a couple of short seasons there. If I had to make it's hard to make a prediction for this game just because of how the things are laid out, and I think ultimately it being played at Athens is going to be a huge advantage but we'll have to see how it plays out.
It felt like it should be like 3 or 4 points. I was surprised that Vegas has it set right now it's growing, and it's actually grown from 8.5 to about 9 right now, and that was a little bit surprising to me. And I was also surprised that Alabama's a 13.5 point favorite at LSU. I mean, that seems like that could be a game, depending on what kind of Alabama team you see. If Alabama plays the way they played against Mississippi State, and I don't want to hear, well, that's Mississippi State. Hell, Alabama, it didn't matter who they were lining up against. When you're lining up offsides or you're jumping or those are all things. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. But if Alabama continues to minimize and play like that and minimize mistakes, then yeah, they can go in there and win that game convincingly. But I'm still kind of surprised that they're a 13.5 point favorite at LSU.
Yeah, when I first saw that line, I was a little surprised too. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that, but I think it all depends on which Alabama team comes out, ready to play this Saturday. If they are the team, like you said, that's been able to correct their mistakes, and they did have a bye week to work on those. If they're able to minimize their penalties, if they're able to more effectively, pass the football, rush the football as well. I think in particular on defense, they have needed work at safety for the past couple of weeks here. If they're able to iron out all those issues, then I think Alabama will win it by that margin. But if this is the team that has shown that its ability to be complacent, if it comes out and shows that, then this could be a much closer football game. We might see an LSU team that has already raised some eyebrows, continue to raise them even wider.
And I think for SEC fans, people that are just SEC fans that wants to see, Armageddon and even the possibility of 3 SEC teams in the playoff, I think you really got to be pulling for Notre Dame. I mean, you're a Notre Dame fan this Saturday night as well. Notre Dame, a 3.5 point underdog at home against Clemson. But if Notre Dame can win their biggest game of the year, it's not been a great season for Notre Dame. Nice win at Syracuse there last week. But if Notre Dame dumps Clemson, then all of a sudden you wonder about the possibility of what would happen if Tennessee were to lose this game in a real close game to Georgia, and Georgia and Alabama met in the SEC championship game, and Alabama won, and you'd have 3 one-loss SEC teams, and whether or not all 3 could end up. You have to get Clemson out of there. And I don't think Clemson goes as a one-loss team. But if they win this game against Notre Dame, I think it's pretty clear sailing. They've got nobody in the other division that's going to push them in the ACC championship game, and they're going to end up 13-0, and there's no way they'll keep them out.
Yeah, I think this is a Notre Dame team. This is a Clemson team that's really had several games where they escaped by the skin of their teeth. This is a Clemson team that's far from perfect, and they've shown that several times this year. But they've been able to make things work and have been able to remain undefeated. And because of that, I agree with you. If they do lose to Notre Dame, it's really hard if you're a committee member, at least from my perspective. It'd be really hard to put them in as a one-loss team, which opens the door for so much chaos for having both teams in the SEC championship game making it, for having the third one-loss team, whoever that is, make it. Which, obviously Ohio State and playing Michigan will definitely help sort things out too, because one of them will make it and the other one won't. But it's just chaos. If you're a fan of chaos, this season has really shown a lot of it, and we're far from done yet.
You did Joey Blackwell with us from Bama Central, the Sports Illustrated site for Alabama. You did something that I also did, which I just noticed yours after I did mine, was the SEC Power Rankings through Week 9. And I used it in my commentary today, my Big Dog Unleashed commentary today, to try and determine whether or not the East has taken over as the better conference or the better division in the SEC. Because my initial feeling is, with Tennessee and Georgia being 1-2, that maybe the East is now the better division for the first time in a long, long time. My rankings were very similar to yours. I still had Georgia 1 and Tennessee 2. I see you had Tennessee 1 and Georgia 2. And at the bottom, I had Auburn 13 and Texas A&M 12, and you have Auburn 12 and Texas A&M 13, and I think maybe I got Florida and South Carolina reversed from what you have there, possibly. But that loss to Missouri was stunning to me by South Carolina. But having said that, it's pretty similar. So I use those rankings to determine. I still think that the West is the better division overall, because the meat of it, from number 1 team in the West down to the number 5 team in the West, are all really ranked higher than outside of the top 2 in the East. The East is very top heavy. I still think that the Arkansas and the Ole Misses and, of course, Alabama and LSU, those teams, I just think the depth is still better in the West. What do you think?
No, I completely agree. I think top to bottom, the West is the better division. But I do think that if you're looking at it from who has the best team, especially if you're looking at the top 2, I really have to lean the East this year, because you have the defending national champions in Georgia. You have a Tennessee team that looks like can't lose to anybody for the rest of the year outside of possibly the other East team in Georgia. And then you look at the West, and just top to bottom, you have Alabama. You have Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas A&M, which is not the best team this year. Let's be honest here, but they're still Texas A&M. You also have, of course, LSU, which is so surprised. You have Mississippi State, who has one of the better offenses in the league. Auburn, is still it's a team that is having obviously a really rough year, but there's still a lot of teams that Auburn team can beat on any given Saturday. The teams like South Carolina, Missouri, and South Carolina, Missouri, and Vanderbilt have a way of kind of dragging down the East, but you still have 2 solid teams in Kentucky and Florida there. So top to bottom, I go West. But yeah, if you're looking at the best talent in the league this year, you got to look in Knoxville or Athens right now.
And you have to then, too, when you make that final determination, you got to tell me what happens in Atlanta. Because if a West team does win that, then I think that's obviously significant as well. I'll ask you a question that I kind of just threw out there at the open of the show today. I wonder, as that Tennessee-Georgia game unfolds, from an Alabama standpoint, from the fans, you got your finger on the pulse of the fans a little bit. From the fan standpoint, do you think the fans would rather play Georgia in Atlanta or rather have another bite at Tennessee in Atlanta? If Alabama could get there, which do you think they'd rather see on the other side?
I think probably Tennessee, just because if you play Tennessee, not only do you it's a shake-up. Alabama is used to playing Georgia at this point, and that will be a nice change of pace to play a really good Tennessee team. But also, there's the revenge factor involved. Having lost to them during the regular season, particularly in the fashion they did in the final seconds, with the goalposts being torn down, feeling disrespected by that, and all the hype that came, and it was all warranted from the Volunteers fans, faithful. I think Alabama fans right now would rather see Tennessee. I think the funny part, though, is I think Alabama fans also might believe that they have a better chance at beating Georgia. But I think overall, if you're looking at it from we want to beat that team, I think Tennessee tops that list right now.
See, I look at tearing down the goalpost as a sign of respect, not disrespect. I mean, if they want, you know what I mean? If they want to spend $100,000 and flood the field and tear the goalpost down and throw them in the river because they beat Alabama, they must have really did something. You know what I mean, by beating Alabama. To me, that's why I always thought it's cool that Alabama doesn't rush the field. It's like, well, You're supposed to win that game. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the idea, is you're supposed to win that game. I think it's more disrespectful to not rush the field because you're saying, yeah, well, we thought we would beat you. I mean, those people reacted the way they reacted. It was like they lost their friggin' ever-loving minds. That was obviously the biggest thing for most of those kids' lives, for them to actually beat Alabama. I agree, though. I think they're a little bit better matchup against Georgia. I think from a football standpoint, I almost feel like it would be a little bit better matchup against Georgia than it would be seeing that Tennessee team again.
No, I do. I think, this is a Georgia team that, is pretty different than the one we saw last year. But still, they have a lot of new players compared to last year. But they are still, at the end of the day, they are still a Kirby Smart football team and are still very strong defensively and would probably be the best defense that Alabama will have faced if they play each other. So I like that matchup better. But, I as selfish as I am, I really want to watch that Alabama-Tennessee game again. There's no doubt that sparks would fly, and Tennessee fans travel. That Atlanta crowd between Alabama and Tennessee would be remarkable.
That would be something to see. There's no doubt about it. And the confidence they got off of beating Alabama, they were different. To me, they looked like a different team even against Kentucky. They got even a different swagger. They dispatched Kentucky so easily. That was kind of stunning. I did have Tennessee. I thought Tennessee would pull away late. I picked it and beat the big dog. I picked Tennessee and laid the 11.5, 12 points, whatever it was, because I thought they would pull away late. I didn't realize they would just beat the snot out of them from beginning to end. And if they're there, that means they beat Georgia too. And I think a Tennessee team that won, and by the way, that at South Carolina game is kind of sneaky. Just sitting there. I mean, I know that South Carolina just lost to Missouri, but that at South Carolina game, I don't want to be disrespectful to those guys, but to Shane Beamer and his crew. But I think they would come in as a different type of team. They thought they could beat Alabama. When they beat Alabama, they thought maybe if everything fell out perfectly, they could beat Alabama, but now that they beat Alabama, and if they had beaten Kentucky and they beat Georgia and they beat South Carolina on the road, their mindset is going to be different. They're going to be really tough at that point.
Yeah, this is a Tennessee team that's just so much fun to watch. I mean, they have so much confidence in themselves right now. They have so much swagger, and with every win that they knock in their belts, they grow even more so. And I, it pains me as an Alabama grad to say that Tennessee's one of the best teams to watch right now, but they really are. And you got to love their energy and what Heupel's done there, and just really looking forward to seeing how chaos continues to ensue these next few weeks.
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, see, for you were like, how old were you in 2006? The last time Tennessee had won that game. I mean, you were like
2006. I was 15, going on 16.
All right, so you were like 15, 16 years old. So then you go through this long period where, Alabama dominates the thing. It really, in the big picture, it is just so good for the SEC. It's so good for the Alabama-Tennessee rivalry to have a good team in Knoxville. I really do believe that. Now, I don't know what they'll look like next year without Hendon Hooker, how much of this is Josh Heupel and how much of this is Hendon Hooker. But, they got the other kid, the $8 million quarterback coming in, so maybe, he's going to be great too. But I think that Florida will be back. Florida's always still Florida. So to have 3 really good teams in the East and 3 or 4 really good teams in the West, it's just good for the league.
No, absolutely. It's more competition. I was saying before the Tennessee game this year, because I do remember the days where the Alabama-Tennessee game, meant something. And it really did lose that luster over the past, decade and a half. And just seeing the energy in Knoxville just, when I was walking across campus to get to Neyland Stadium, I was like, this is what SEC football is about. And that feeling had been lost in Knoxville for so long. And for it to finally be back, it means obviously a lot to the program, but it means even more, just as much to the entire conference, just to, have more than just a couple of good teams in the East and a couple of good teams in the West. It's really, really something to see, for sure.
Enjoy your trip down to Baton Rouge. It's always interesting to go down there, but I'll say that. I'll say interesting. It's always a good time down there, but enjoy that, and we'll look forward to talking again next week.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you.
There you go, Joey Blackwell. And by the way, we should mention, since we're talking about that at that point in time, that Vince Dooley's passing. That happened Friday after we were off the air. That happened Friday, and Vince Dooley one of the real class guys of the SEC and of SEC history. An Auburn guy that passes away. Maybe we'll ask John Samuel Shanker about it, whether there's any awareness really of it, of Auburn players. That Vince Dooley was an Auburn grad. There was a statement issued by Nick Saban, said Vince Dooley was one of my favorite people in the world and a wonderful friend to the entire Saban family. Vince represented the University of Georgia and all of college football with tremendous integrity and class as both a coach and athletics director. No place was more evident than his impact on the young men that he led over a lifetime as a coach. Terry and I are deeply saddened to learn of his passing, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife Barbara and their entire family. He will be missed by many. 90 years old, died peacefully in his sleep, and a good life led, no doubt, by Vince Dooley. All right, we're going to break in here. When we come back, John Samuel Shanker took snaps as quarterback, fullback, tight end. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't play at all on defense. He's coming up next right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing, helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down? And maybe you haven't been getting the exercise you need. If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns, to problems with muscle gain and bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction. And if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we've treated many men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how low testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 256-368-0333. That's 256-368-0333. Or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. That's HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel & McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Hi, I'm Capri, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the chicken. They actually put it on the grill, cooked it in the sauce. It's definitely a good grilled spicy sandwich.
Hey, I'm Michelle, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is it's spicy and it's full of flavor. When you pair that with the kale crunch salad, it's just good.
Order a grilled spicy deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Restoration, we show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 7 Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Halloween, expect mostly cloudy sky. High temperature going to top out in the lower 70s for the afternoon. Majority of us will be remaining dry, but a passing shower or two cannot be completely ruled out. Heading into your Monday night, expect mostly clouds to continue. Low temperatures going to be falling into the lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Touchdown, Alabama! No look pass inside, but he got to go to play.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This is the Thom Abraham Show with the Auburn Tigers captain, tight end John Samuel Schenker.
Wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, John Samuel Schenker. Touchdown, Auburn.
Presented by Valley Equipment Rental.
Yes, it's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running.
And welcome back to Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. At Valley Equipment Rental, they have got everything that you need to get the job done like a pro, whether you are a pro or not. Valley Equipment Rental has the equipment for you. Don't forget their north location. It opened up now about 6, 8, 9 months ago, something like that. It's spectacular out there. Every time you go out there, it's changing. It's a little bit different. And they have the beautiful excavators out there. The bigger stuff is out there because they have more room to park all of that stuff. Lifts, skid steers, dozers, all that kind of equipment. And then, of course, the original location of Valley Equipment Rental on the South Parkway with more skids, mini X's, and lifts than anybody else in the Tennessee Valley. They are the number one equipment rental place anywhere in the Tennessee Valley, and they can get you taken care of. Ross Roberts and his crew doing a great job, and all season long have brought you John Samuel Schenker, who joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. John Samuel, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. These are the times that try men's souls, right? I mean, you just keep battling and battling week in and week out, doing whatever you can at this particular point in time to get a win, right?
Yep, that's that's every week is a different week, and in the SEC, whether you win or lose, that's the mindset you have to have, and so we've done some uncharacteristic things. I thought the offense played better this week. No turnovers or anything like that. So definitely growth, but still a lot of stuff to fix to win in the SEC.
How aware are you guys as players? I mean, the news came out over the weekend, and that day there was a lot of talk about it, about the possibility that a new athletic director was being hired, John Cohen, who really is a baseball guy out of Mississippi State. Are you guys aware of that stuff as it's going on, that there's this conversation that there may be a new AD coming in, even though in your case, you're right near the end of your career there, but obviously this can impact a lot of the younger guys on the team.
Yeah, we saw it. I mean, the coaches don't talk about it, but we saw it on ESPN and stuff like that. And I think we're signing him today. I saw a thing on ESPN this morning about it, so I think he will be the new director. Which, right, like it won't impact me very much, but it will for these younger guys and all that. So it'll be interesting to see what he's like, what he brings to the table for Auburn.
You're a baseball guy. He's a baseball guy. I mean, when you look at that, is it a little surprising at all to you? I mean, he played at Mississippi State, and then he coached at Mississippi State for years. He was the head baseball coach at Mississippi State for 7 or 8 seasons. Had a pretty good record there. I mean, the fact that he's a baseball guy, what is it? Do you have any thought on that, and whether or not he'd be able to do things that'll also be able to help the football program?
I mean, he's done pretty well at Mississippi State from what you've seen. He's brought home a national championship, and he's had some successful things. He's brought in Mike Leach and things like that. So I think he's done a good thing. I think he and Coach Thompson with baseball, they probably knew each other beforehand because Coach Thompson was at Mississippi State at one point. So I'm sure they're familiar with each other. But I don't know what it'll be interesting to see what he brings. I'm sure, obviously, if we're bringing him in, we have a belief in what he can do. So that'll be cool to see.
Couple of catches in the game for you, but you lined up as a tight end. Obviously, a lot of the game, a lot of double tight in the game. I think that the running game is really being helped by that. There's no doubt about it. But you also lined up as a fullback at least once. I don't know how much you've done that during the season, but they had you in the backfield at least one time. And then you took a snap at quarterback and ran a toss to Robbie Ashford. If they're putting you in at quarterback, are you like pining for a couple of pass plays? Like, I could fake the toss and I could do like a throwback screen or something like that. What was up with that?
Yeah, so we saw that from the NFL, and we saw it. It's a good short yardage play. If I was standing up under center, they probably expect a QB sneak of some sort. So, when I stepped up, I saw both the linebackers coming into the A gap. I knew we had him at that point because I knew we'd have the edge. And yeah, it's a fun play to practice in the week. We repped that all week, and yeah, maybe next time I'll get to throw a pass or something. That'd be entertaining for sure.
A little jump pass, like from you to another one of the tight ends. You know what I mean? Like throw it from one tight end to the other tight end, and you'd be like, we'll just do this ourselves, man. We can handle this in our own room.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you taken many snaps? I mean, were you ever a quarterback in high school or anything like that? Was this something, where did this thing come from?
No, I was never a quarterback. I have taken snaps, kind of in the walkout scenario, but never a quarterback or anything. So that was not unseen territory, but definitely not common territory for me.
I was wondering if they'd put you in in the shotgun because it's a little bit weird. You don't know. You're midway through the second half or something like that, and the center's all like skeevy and sweaty and stuff, and now you got to reach in there and take the snap. If it was me, I'd be like, I'd go up to the center, and then I'd back up and be in like the pistol and say, all right, I'll run this toss, but I'm not taking a shotgun.
Don't let him get too sweaty.
Yeah, you don't want to get all covered up in that stuff. Team is running the ball better. Ran the ball for 200 yards in this game. Defensively, obviously they struggle. When the team is struggling like that defensively, you guys are over there and you're on the sideline and you're doing your thing. I mean, what is it like? You feel just like kind of hopeless? You're just trying to encourage those guys? What are you doing when they're out there and they're giving up yards and you just want to get back out on the field?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of flip-flop in the beginning of the year. We weren't really doing much at the beginning of the year, and that was when they were having success, and now it's flipped the other way. So that can become but you stay positive. You try to pick up each other, and that's what a good team does is when one's down, the other one picks them up. Obviously, we scored points, but we still didn't score as many as we could have with the opportunities we were given. So it's all about growth, and, those guys on the defense understand that too, and it's our job to pick them up and make them look good as well.
Talk to me about getting ready for Mississippi State. I know that you'll get into it hot and heavy here now in the next couple of practices, but you've seen them on film and you've seen their games a little bit. And what are your thoughts about this Mississippi State team as you head over there?
Yeah, so their defense, it's a little uncommon the way they run their defense. So they create issues just by twists and blitzes and things like that. So we'll need to be definitely well educated on their defense and very into the game plan and understanding all the assignments because they can all change with the stuff that they do. So a different schemes, which requires different level of focus for us. And but I think they're a better defense than what you've seen in the past from Mississippi State. So it'll be a good test for us.
You run a lot out of that kind of almost an H-back type of look. You're often in the 2-point stance. So you're not necessarily, up on the line in a 3-point stance. From a blocking standpoint, so, talk about the challenges of that because it would seem to be a little more difficult to get leverage, or maybe it's better because you can kind of have a better opportunity to see what you're looking at and who your man is going to be. But talking about blocking out of that 2-point stance when you're off the ball as opposed to being up on the ball with your hand in the dirt.
Well, in my opinion, you get a little more momentum when you're in the 2-point. It's more of a running start, which can help. And you see things a little bit better. But when you're in a 3-point, you have better leverage. You already have leverage just by the way you're aligned. So both are different. It just really depends on the block you're about to make on which one's better for it. Because some blocks are harder in 2-point and 3-point. So I enjoy both. I enjoy 2-point more. A little more freedom to kind of run around. And you're not really just stuck down there. So I enjoy the 2-point a little bit more.
And they flex you out a lot, in the passing sets, and that's an NFL thing too. I mean, that's that you seem to be very comfortable though being out there in the slot and running routes from that position. And look, when you look at the Travis Kelce and you look at all the the great tight ends out there right now, George Kittle and these other guys, they run a lot of their routes at hybrid position out there in the slot. Is that something you like doing?
Yeah, I love that. Every play is different. You got a lot of motions and things, and it also helps me understand the coverages and what they're going to do on a play just by what they do once I move. So that helps me a lot during plays, and obviously that's what helps coordinators and quarterbacks understand coverages and things like that. So, but I enjoy it moving around. I think it's fun. It adds a different level to the game for me, so I enjoy it.
Do you have option routes and stuff like that for you, or they set your route and say this is what you're running come hell or high water, or do you have opportunities like if they come up and press, I'm going to go over the top and have that communication, with the quarterbacks? Because it seems like as offenses get more sophisticated, you see more of that where they're have that freedom based on what you see a safety doing and how they play you to where you got an option route.
Yeah, I have options on not all my routes, but on some of my routes, based on coverages, how certain guys play me and things like that. So that's also a fun part to it. You can set guys up for one thing and you run another route. So those are more of the fun ones for me rather than the ones that are kind of set in stone.
Is it up to the quarterback to read that same thing that you're looking at? I mean, you guys, so do you have a signal between you as you look over to him and you see that, I can beat this guy to the inside, or is it something where he has to be able to read the same thing that you're reading?
Yeah, he has to be able to read the same thing I do. And it's normally not super complicated, but normally the quarterback and I are just on the same page. We don't need any communication for that.
You feel like Robbie is growing into the job, 24 out of 33, 285 yards this past week. We saw early on there were some deer in the headlights moments for him, in his early starts. But do you feel like he's starting to settle in a little bit? I mean, my God, he had almost 400 yards of total offense by himself.
Yeah, I think every week he's getting better. He's not turning the ball over. He's making smart decisions, which is he's worked so hard on it. He's very coachable over this year and allowing just people to help him out. And he's done a great job with that. And I think each week he's gotten better, and you can see his confidence grow and his understanding for the offense. I think this weekend he played a really good game, probably his best so far, just clean. And obviously there's always things everyone can get better at, but I think it was one of his better games, and I was happy to see it, happy for him, just to see him being willing to grow, and then seeing that on Saturday.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, that body language is a big thing. You know, it seems like he's kind of growing out of that a little bit. He's very emotional. He kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve, and if he throws a pick or something goes bad, you know, he seems to be very upset. And you, obviously you can be upset, but how you handle that, I mean, you're the leader, right, when you're the quarterback, and it seems to be that they're working on that and saying, look, you can't be running around hanging your head. You can't be that guy.
Yeah, he's done a lot, really good with that, and that's something. He's obviously worked on, and he's done that through practice as well, and molding into a better leader. And he's young, so obviously, you know, things going to happen early on with not a lot of experience. But he's done really well. I'm really excited to see the growth that he's had, and hopefully that will continue as we go throughout the rest of the season.
You watching any of the World Series?
I watched 2 innings Friday night in the hotel. I was kind of shocked to see the Phillies pull that one out, but I'll probably watch some of it tonight and tomorrow, and just get excited because it could go anywhere. I think the Phillies are a better team right now. They're playing better, but you never know. The Astros, they tend to have a knack for things here in the postseason.
Like to see the Astros lose more than I want to see the Phillies win. I'd like to see the Astros lose again. I just like to see those guys just keep losing. Halloween plans? I mean, you're going to watch some baseball tonight. You got Monday Night Football. You got the Halloween teams. You got the Browns and the Bengals playing Monday Night Football as well. But do you know? Are you not a Halloween guy? You know, you're dressing up, to go to the facility or anything like that.
No, I'm not a huge Halloween guy. We'll be pretty low maintenance today. Not doing much there, and just kind of relax. Probably watch baseball and a little bit of football as well tonight. All right. Well, enjoy that.
Don't eat too much candy or anything, and get ready for that trip to Mississippi State, and see if you guys can't finish the season, on an uptick. That would be great for everybody involved. That's for sure. John Samuel Schenker has been our guy. Schenker, I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. It was good talking to you.
All right, thanks. Good to talk to you. I mean, look, I know he's a graduate student. I know he's a fifth-year, guy. I know he's 22 now, almost 23 years old. But honest to God, this has been so brutal for Auburn. I have so expected one of these times for Grizz to tell me can't get him. And he gets him every week. Every week. And believe me, we're not paying him enough to make it, like he's got to do it. I mean, we're buying him a pizza basically, but I mean, we're not like going nuts. And for him to keep showing up and keep doing these interviews, I know he does a couple of other radio stations. It's got to be really tough, man. It's got to be really tough. It's like being a player for the Detroit Lions or something. It's got to be tough to do it week in and week out, but he continues to do it. And, what are you going to do? You can't say to him, hey, by the way, your coach is circling the drain. I mean, they know what's going on. Is he dead man coaching? Of course he's dead man coaching. They know what's happening. And he's got 3 games left, as 4 games left now as a player. He'll play at Mississippi State, come home and play against Texas A&M and Western Kentucky, and then they go to Tuscaloosa. So there's that. But he's a great young man. I still think he's got a bright future. All right, let's get a break in there. When we come back, we will go open lines now the rest of the way. We got plenty to get into, and you want to jump on board? We haven't even touched on the NFL. We haven't even touched it. But if you want to get in with some thoughts or reactions to anything you saw over the weekend, you can do it next right here on the Thom Abraham Show. Jump in at 256-576-4977 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll super mega for your backside. Shake your booty, do the Charmin slide. Super mega make you feel alright. Everybody do the Charmin slide. Long-lasting TP gets everybody going. Leaves booties clean and totally glowing. Shake your booty, do the Charmin slide. Change your roll less, go with pride.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is longer lasting, so you can change the roll less often. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Humphrey's is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellow Hammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphrey's Bar and Grill.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to tap into human emotion, first with some music. Then in a serious tone, I'll say, save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. And even though it was about saving money with Progressive, we'll fade out the music so you know it was poignant. Wow, powerful stuff. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Halloween, expect mostly cloudy sky. High temperature going to top out in the lower 70s for the afternoon. Majority of us will be remaining dry, but a passing shower or two cannot be completely ruled out. Heading into your Monday night, expect mostly clouds to continue. Low temperatures going to be falling into the lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. For all your injury needs, it's TOC Sports. They will get you right. Whether you've been injured at work or at play or you're just decaying, however you got hurt, TOC will take care of you and make sure that they get you right. It's TOC Sports. They got locations all over the Tennessee Valley, and we thank them once again for the after-hours clinic that they had all season long. For athletes playing on Friday Night Football. That has come to a close now, but just a tremendous job by TOC, and they'll continue, of course, to have their trainers out at all of the games for their schools all throughout the Tennessee Valley as the playoffs begin in high school football in North Alabama. A reminder that all three of our teams that you hear on a regular basis on the Zone and Zone 2 and Zone 3 will be in the playoffs this weekend. Buckhorn playing on Friday night at Hartzell. Hartzell's 10-0, and they're ranked in the top 5 and are a very, very good team. That's going to be a monumental task for Buckhorn coming off of that tough loss to Grissom. They lost their quarterback during that game, a shot on the sideline to the head. He had a concussion, took a big hit along the sideline. He was doing some things I didn't know Jack Roop could do, the quarterback at Buckhorn. That we hadn't seen him run much during the season. He's not a real big kid, but he took a shot. It did end up being a personal foul for a late hit or targeting hit, but he took a pretty big shot. That knocked him out of the game, and Terrence Robinson already had an ankle issue that was bothering him, and so he was forced into duty back at quarterback, and it made it tough. And Grissom just mauled them with their offensive line. They lined up and they ran the ball so well throughout the game. They were able to just pound and run the ball, and it's the most frustrating thing when you're the opponent because you're trying to figure out a way to get off the field. And Grissom you got to give them a ton of credit for what they were able to do with their offensive line. They also stuck with a quarterback. I went into this game when I prepared for the game. Last week's their game the week before, Grissom used 4 different guys took a snap at center. I mean, they were using defensive linemen. They were using whoever. Line up. Everybody gets a snap at center. I mean, it was crazy. In this game, they went with the sophomore quarterback, and I think they've got something going forward. The kid has some moxie. I think he's pretty decent. And I think they have something going forward. So we'll see. They're not a real young team. They had a lot of seniors out there playing. They had a lot of seniors. Their running backs, both their top running backs are seniors, right? And their offensive line is mostly seniors. So I don't know what they've got coming back, Riz, but
I will say this. Seth Leeburn, the sophomore you're talking about, the quarterback, you can tell he's young. I think he's going to get it in the next couple of years, by the time he's a senior for sure. But you got Cole Porter, defensive back, number 22 that you saw.
Stud.
Leads 7A in interceptions. I think he's 3rd in the nation with interceptions.
Yeah, he's got
Jalen
eight
Edwards.
picks in the year.
Jalen Edwards, defensive end, that kid right there, leading sack leader in 7A as well. He's a sophomore, So he's coming back on the defensive
What's the
line.
Long kid?
Katie Long's a senior. Yeah.
He's a senior. He'll be gone?
That strip sack that he had, or the scoop and score, that was something that was wild. That was for sure. And anyway, the whole sideline was excited. So
I think 2 defensive scores and a special team score for Grissom in that game. So if you have 2 defense, if you give up offensively, or if you give up 2 defensive scores and a special team score where Cole Porter ran back a pooch kick, which I don't understand why they were kicking it to him, but because the one before he had about a 35-yard return on coming across the field, and then they pooch kicked it to him again, and he just took it right down the sideline untouched for a touchdown. But when you give up 2 defensive scores and a special team score, pretty much you're not going to win that football game. It's pretty hard to win that football game, when that happens. And it still came down to a final possession, but they were Grissom able to get that victory in that one. But over on Zone 2, of course, we'll have Madison Academy in their game against Phil Campbell. I don't know who Phil Campbell is, but I expect Madison Academy to put it on them pretty good. They have dominated in their region at least. We'll see how it goes and how far Madison